Today is composting day, and this is a compost bin that I'm emptying from here, this bin into this bin. They're the same age compost, just to let them finish off because there's still a bit of solid material in there. But while I was digging them up, I found some Rhinoceros grubs. I think that's what they are. Let's just see if we can find one. They've all dug their way in pretty quickly. Okay, here we have one. This is how big they are. Just ginormous. Unfortunately, a few have died in the process. I didn't see them there and they got squashed with the shovel. But most of them have survived, and I'll put them over here. To continue doing what they do. And they're just eating this material and pooping it out the other end. So they're doing an excellent job for me. I'm not sure if anyone's had experience with white grubs for composting. We get a lot of the smaller ones from like Christmas beetles and stuff like that get in the compost and make compost. So we have a worm here too, nice big fat worm. So yeah, I'm not quite sure of the quality of the compost from these guys. Get him working his way into the soil there. I haven't been able to find much on the internet about it, so I'd be interested if anyone's had some experience with the compost made by these kind of grubs. Just to show you the size comparison, these are the normal ones that we get, and this is the Rhinoceros beetles. They're absolutely huge. So this is where I'm going to be putting some of the compost that I did sift out of that compost pile. It's quite acidic compost. That's when I tested the pH, it's around 6 or 5.5, so I'm putting that on my potato patch, which I'm doing just with the potatoes, of just touching the ground. They're here somewhere still. Somewhere under here there was potatoes. Thought. So I found my potato, it was caught up in the mulch. Okay, so I've just put them, just touching the ground, and then I'm covering them with sugarcane mulch, and I'm going to be layering this up with manure and compost and sawdust just to make it nice and dark, and then the potatoes will grow. Okay, so my camera ran out of storage space yesterday, so I couldn't finish this off, but this is the layer of compost that I've added to the potato bed. Next I'm going to put on some pine needles that I collected along the sides of the road. I'm putting lots of different material and layering this up because after the potatoes have finished here, I really want a nice nutritious bed left behind, so I'm adding lots of stuff into it, and I'm going to put some cow manure as well after I've put the pine mulch, and then we'll put some sawdust on top. So there we have our pine tree leaves and manure. If you're wondering about pine tree leaves, if they're safe to compost in your garden, apparently they are. Apparently that when they're green, they're a problem, but dried ones are fine because the acidity, I think, disappears as they turn brown, and it changes the soil acidity so little that it's not a problem. And no, they don't inhibit the growth of the plant. So we'll see. This is the first time I've used them, how it affects this potted garden, and we'll test the soil pH once it's all broken down and see how that is looking as well. So before I add the next layer, I'm just going to thoroughly wet this layer down, just to moisten it all up. Have to excuse the mowing from my neighbour. So now we've wet that layer. It's important to wet the layers like you would compost, because you want that moisture so that everything will break down. You don't want it too moist because you don't want to cause your potatoes to rot, but you just want it moist so that everything starts to break down into soil. So now we're going to add the sawdust. Now the sawdust layer is to help block out the light so that you don't get green potatoes. So some different layer to add or something similar that will keep the light from getting down into your potatoes and turning them green. Okay, on top of this layer of sawdust, we're now going to add another layer of manure. And then another layer of sugarcane mulch. And I'll use a whole bale of sugarcane mulch. We're going to wet that layer and we'll put a final layer of sawdust on it. You'll notice I didn't wet the sawdust layer because it was already damp. That was sawdust that was left out so it can get wet by the rain, so I didn't need to wet that layer. And you'll also notice that I didn't put any green material or nitrogen rich material on, because potatoes are going to grow up through here and I don't want to keep the pile up like you would in a hot compost pile. I want it to stay fairly cool so that those potatoes can actually grow. Hence why I use well matured compost so that it wouldn't burn the plant. Just like you would use if you're planting out. Okay, so now we're adding on a final layer of sawdust. bucket. So there we go, we're just going to leave that bed like that for now. Let it shrink down, and as the tomatoes start to, not tomatoes, potatoes start to push their leaves through, we might add some more layers on top. But for now that's it.